All right, so before we get started, you've actually created a special link for the Perpetual Traffic listener, a irresistible offer to save $100 when they start with Wicked Reports, and, which is incredible, get a free $1,000 data scientist consulting call after you onboard. So you guys do this and actually charge $1,000 for it, but for anyone who signs up through the wickedreports.com/PT link will get $100 off, as well as a free call, which is $1,000 value. That's not a bullshit value. That's a real value to get a data scientist actually on the call to go through and set up all these MPIs and get you to start using Wicked Reports and really understand exactly how it's going to scale and grow your business. So that's over at wickedreports.com/PT. Okay, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns, founder and CEO of Tier 11.
And I'm Lauren E. Petrullo, founder of Mongoose Media.
And this is Scott Gross.
He's literally known me since I think 2009. Still can't say my name. It's 15 years.
Hold on. I'm going to do it right.
And I've been on this thing.
No. I'm going to do it right this time.
That's 3 presidents.
15 years. DeGrossier.
DeGrossier. All right, here we go. And this.
The DeGrossier.
Now you're talking over my time.
See, she says it better than you.
And this is Scott DeGrossier, who
is the founder and CEO of Wicked Reports.
That's right. And he is here today to explain some of the things we've been discussing over the course of the last, I would say, month and a half, Lauren E. Petrullo. And a lot of people have asked us with these MPIs, these marketing performance indicators, where do you actually find them? Well, you can find some of them in-app, as we've discussed, but some of them you actually have to pay for and go to a third-party attribution tool, which I hate that word for what you guys do. But anyway, we'll just leave it at that. Maybe you can title it a different way.
I'll reposition that shortly.
When I allow you to start talking. The point is that everyone has been asking us, where do you find some of these? And actually today is the fourth in series of us going through the MPIs. If you don't know what they are, this is the first time we've ever heard of any of this, marketing performance indicators. You can get your own copy of the download of this, which has videos that explain it all, as well as exactly why you need to know these metrics over at perpetualtraffic.com/MPI. So today, Scott DeGrossier. DeGrossier. Grow. DeGrossier. See, that's what I always get wrong. It's DeGrossier.
It's anyway. French. It's really DeGrossier.
DeGrossier.
It's Scott DeGrossier.
I just call him Wicked Scott.
That's perfect.
Wicked Scott is
Wicked
easy.
Scott works great.
That's how my wife refers to you, by the way.
She does.
Are you seeing Wicked Scott tonight? She asked me that earlier today. So marketing performance indicators, the ones that we haven't touched on as of yet are new website visits, which is NWV, as well as effective cost per new visit, ECPNV,
yes,
as well as RWV, which is returning website visits. And these are not just acronyms that we made up. Well, we did actually make them up, but the point is,
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, we did make them up, but they're actually real things that you can use as performance indicators to figure out how effective your marketing is actually working.
I found them to be amazing for not just the performance, but also validating whether your top of the funnel traffic is really targeting top of the funnel, particularly with the AI campaigns that we'll get into later, but they often are not targeting enough new visitors, which is then leading to marketing funnel problems before you even assess whether you're getting enough visits and are they turning into customers. Are you even driving the right traffic that you think you're driving? This one flushes them out well.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important. I mean, there's a lot of acronyms here. There's 15 of them, and each one of them has a place in your overall sort of armamentarium to figure out how effective your marketing advertising is, but marketing and advertising, I should say. But new website visits, effective cost per new visit, as well as returning website visitors really tells you that quintessential question, am I actually targeting cold traffic? am I going after new customers? Because when people start working for Tier 11 or Mongoose Media, they don't say, hey, just can you sell more to the existing customers that I have and just have my business be flat? Like nobody has said that
Never.
ever a business owner. So the whole goal of marketing is new business. Obviously, we've talked about NCAC, new cost to acquire a customer. We've talked about that in a lot of our previous shows here, which you'll probably refer to in a lot of the things that you'll be showing here today. So Scott is actually going to do a walkthrough, maybe within the next minute or so, on Wicked Reports, because a lot of people don't know where to find this stuff or where to actually find it inside Wicked Reports. So we're going to do that as a screen share and show how you should be using it in order to target cold traffic, figure out if your offer is resonating, and then adjust your marketing accordingly.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, let's get right to it. So if you haven't gotten your MPIs checklist as of yet, once again, by now, my God, just go to perpetualtraffic.com/MPI and get these damn things. So, all right, take it away, Mr. PC.
So the first thing we're trying to do with new visits, we're trying to assess new traffic. Now, how you do this is relatively easy from an attribution standpoint. And I agree, rather than attribution, we're trying to say, we're going to use these indicators because we want them to indicate what we need to do next. That's the whole purpose of data. Not, oh, look, I got a number. Like, what are you going to do when the number changes? What are you going to do if the number is not the way you want? That's the whole point of it. You want a game plan, a data-driven strategy and framework of how you're going to move forward with it. Now, the first thing new visits do, how it works, we look at every IP address ever that's visited this website. Then we load in the CRM first-party data. Then we load in the shopping cart first-party data. So we have all that data of your customers, people that joined your email list but didn't, and every piece of traffic that ever's come in. And then what we're doing with new visits is saying, we see a click came in, we figured out where it came from. Is it anywhere in that pile of identities and clicks and IPs and all those other things we have? We have other things too. Is it in there already? And if it is, then it's not a new visit, it's a returning visit. And if it isn't, it's a new visit. And the overall value right from the get-go is you got to be driving new eyeballs at the top of your funnel so that all the AI and all the retargeting campaigns you're running are going to have fresh eyeballs to convert. Because if not, if you're running stagnant and you're like, man, I keep optimizing the creative on my retargeting, but the ROAS is already like 10x. What do I need to do? You're not getting enough new eyeballs. So it's a very easy thing to understand. And it's a very easy thing to audit. First of all, are my top of the funnel campaigns actually driving new traffic? I mean, I don't know, when you guys come in and audit campaigns, do you find, is that a common issue before they start with you guys?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what I find is that there's usually no exclusions in most cases, but a lot of times we'll have an ad account, and Lauren, this is probably the same way with you. Like when we do our audit, we'll go in and we'll see just sort of a mishmash of all kinds of traffic.
Yep.
And Meta specifically, Google, obviously, they want the lowest hanging fruit to make the platform look as good as possible.
Correct.
Let's not kid ourselves here. Like that's 100%. Really 100%. So that's why we always say, take the in-app metrics with a grain of salt. And in our next show, we're actually going to be going through some in-app metrics inside Meta that are really important, but they're the final piece to this whole MPI checklist. So they do have validity in-app, 100%. However, what you really want to figure out is, how much cold traffic am I actually running? And here inside Wicked Reports, maybe you can just sort of navigate through like how you actually got to this part, because just to show the folks in most cases, and this is hopefully not coming across as a Wicked Report sales pitch by any stretch, but this is he hopes it is, but this is a tool that we use. We don't show this necessarily to customers unless they're really in the weeds. Not Jim Weed, but just regular weeds. But the point is that this helps guide a lot of our buying decisions because of these MPIs here. And you've actually arranged the columns in such a way so that we can actually see a lot of these MPIs. Correct? Okay.
Yes.
So in that, though, to be super clear, that this view that we're showing on YouTube is showing a customized column entry. This is not the default landing that someone would get on. So if someone wanted to add new visits, and these other ones we go into. Just really quickly, where is someone going to go in to do that from
boy.
their
Hold
base
on,
page?
hit the button for me. You hit manage columns.
Manage columns.
I think it's checking for Ralph's fingerprint because I
Yeah.
swear I just clicked.
Yeah.
And then you come over here, you pick the ones you want, and you reorder them on the right. Now, what we've taken great pains to do is we've set up templated views. So basically, we already set up the framework. So if you're looking at, let's say, top of the funnel, then we've already got columns set up in the way that I like to organize them and analyze them. And then our CSM team helps walk you through any questions you may or may not have so that you can get a good view at what you're doing.
Right.
So is this a templated view that we could have labeled as perpetual traffic so that if anyone wanted to import this view, you could say, look at the perpetual traffic view?
Yes, or
She's a smart one.
Perpetual traffic, top of the funnel, or whatever, MPIs, and we could list the 3. That's a good idea. Branded global views. We could do that, actually. We may need to. So the idea is, though, that you don't, as a marketer, you don't have to go in there and start from scratch every time, because we used to be that way. And then we learned, hell, I've been doing this for 25,000 hours. I should have learned it in the first 5,000, but after doing this for 10 years, there's certain metrics you want and don't want. So anyway, you can customize this all you want. Let's just get out of here and we'll go to...
All right. You are going to change that, though. You are going to make it to like a preset for people to look.
Yeah. Oh, we have presets. I just already set this one up for what we're going to talk about.
Okay. But you're going to name it...
But now we're going to make this a branded PT one.
I'm likely to name it Perpetual Traffic. I am likely. So see at the top, these are all pinned views that this particular client set up at the top here. So you set them up once because there's all these different, attribution can be hairy. There's all these different reasons you might want to assess things differently. Well, we have all the settings taken care of, and then you can come in here to the views, and we have all these. This is where you'll have your own perpetual traffic area. So click on that one.
Yes. So you're clicking on views, which is just under the top. Who's the Mac user now, Ralph?
Change the display for me. Go over here and change that. This is a new one. You can do vertical. Do vertical list. So we have this, see the view, now we have all these pre-canned views. You have 9 that you've saved, but look on the left, all the different categories. We'll create a perpetual traffic category.
So perpetual traffic will be over here.
Will be over here, and then we'll have the MPI views already, so people can access each episode. We can have one for each episode, and we can have one overall, one for top of the funnel.
I think one overall is just good.
So we've assessed all the different ways.
To start.
These are the different intentions to come in, because again, a framework. I'm looking for long-term profit. Well, you do the long-term profit view. It sets up the attribution models right. It sets up the timestamps we're going to look at and the ones we're going to ignore. How much LTV are we going to consider? All those different ramifications we just deal with. That's how that works.
All right, that's cool.
Let's get back to our new visits.
At least now people know where to look, because if we, I hate this reverse scroll thing, because when you log into Wicked Reports, this is what you see. But all of this is actually, don't touch the Mac. Don't touch.
You're like smacking his hands like a 5th grade school teacher.
I don't even dare to touch this thing.
All right.
So we're looking at, this is at a high level, the channels.
You talk, I scroll.
Okay.
All right.
Looking at the high level from the channels, we want to say, start from the start, we want to say, they're spending $1 million in this time frame. Are they driving enough new eyeballs? And here I would say unequivocally, they're not, because new visits, none of the channels are above 50%, particularly Facebook. That channel generally should be driving a lot of top of the funnel that you're going to hopefully convert on Facebook, but you may convert on Google branded, Google search, or email or SMS. But we want the new visits at the top of the funnel to be greater than 50%.
So what's he doing wrong here?
So let's go into the other tab, which I think already had Facebook already set up. The next tab, that one.
Oh, okay.
I think we had that.
Yep.
So, sorry, to take it back though, when you're saying 50% of your top of funnel traffic should be new, this report that we're looking at, is this isolating new traffic, or is this the aggregate of all ad spend?
That was all ad spend and cross-referencing it against every click and against every CRM entry, every shopping cart entry, and every click and IP ever tracked to say, is it brand new? And what you find, because we first want to assess in Facebook, okay, let's just pretend this one's the top of the funnel. Mm-hmm. And we see 35.8%. Now we can drill into the ad sets.
I can tell right here, just based upon this, he's
1 to 5. Yeah.
It's
a bunch of them piled in.
Which ad account is this?
I don't know.
This is like all our nomenclature in here.
So click on one of those arrows. I think we're in one of your accounts. I don't think we're in. I don't know. Click on that arrow and let's see what the ad sets look like. See what the names of them are. Because maybe it'll clue us in. So the first thing we're going to do before we even get into what to do with the metric is we're going to use it to diagnose traffic quality and say, just click on that arrow and it should it expands like right away because it preloads.
I think it's just because we're on Riverside. Hey, Kevin. If we can edit this.
Yeah.
It's like stuck.
There we go.
There it is. Okay.
Okay. So these are your different ad sets. Now let's say, are any of them over 50% and are they meant to be top of the funnel? So it always starts with attribution or with getting insights. What's your intent or goal that you want from the metric? In this case, we're saying, are these ad sets, if they were for cold traffic, yes, no. If they're for cold traffic, are we getting at least 50% new visitors, yes or no? If the answer is no, we got to fix the ad set targeting. There's two things that can go wrong when you're under 50%. One is your exclusions aren't good enough. The second and much more common is you're using one of the AI campaigns, or you've checkboxed Advantage Plus audience, use an Advantage Plus audience. Because when you do that, it basically ignores what you set up and expands on its own AI logic. And why that's a problem is because when you're trying to go for top of the funnel, you want brand new traffic. However, the AI has decided, well, if I need to hit your conversion goal, I need to target these people that are the highest probability to convert, and they're never new traffic. It's always repeat. So the AI correctly tries to do what you told it, which is, I want max conversions.
Right.
And it says that's going to happen from all these people that have been to the website 5 times already, just as an example. Or these persons already bought. They're definitely they obviously like you. That's the highest signal I have. I got to target those people. And then it does that. And then you're banging your head wondering why your top of the funnel isn't scaling. And it's because it's hitting repeat.
Right.
And then sometimes.
So Scott's saying this is the PMax of Facebook, Advantage Plus audiences.
Exactly. PMax is the same way. PMax is brilliant at that.
Yeah. PMax, I mean, I think all platforms default to the warmest traffic unless you purposely or are intentional about excluding your warm traffic audiences. And in this particular case, and even when you do exclude those warm audiences, you're still going to get a fair amount of warm traffic, which is what we found, even with exclusions.
Yes.
So, but it should be greater than 50%. In this particular case, he's actually got, this is not one of our clients, by the way, but it has actually the tier 11 like nomenclature on the campaigns, which is
1 to 5 levels. Well, yeah. I know your nomenclature. So L1 would be cold, but someone's piling in 1 to 5, which defeats the whole purpose.
Right.
So they're not doing it right.
This is not managed by tier 11.
No, but it's good that it points it out for people that are following your methodology. You should have an L1 be an L1, not pile them all in and then say, I'm going to let the AI figure it out.
Right.
The AI is smart for retargeting campaigns. It kills it. Top of the funnel, you can't have it expand. It ignores your exclusions.
100%.
So that's the thing we have to suss out first.
Right.
Any other questions? I mean, right away. Am I getting enough cold? Because if you're not, you got to fix that first before you do anything else.
Yep.
Because your retargeting might be great. Your email sequence might be killing it if the top turns into leads, and you're just not getting enough fresh eyeballs. That's the number one. It's like an epidemic of retargeting.
Right.
Oh, there's a little slogan.
Ralph
already trademarked it. Too late.
Trademarked it. Too late. As soon as it was out of your mouth. All right. So if we're just looking at this here, obviously this is not set up. We probably should have used a better example of this because I can just tell we're mixing all our traffic L1 to L5, which
Correct.
is basically, we now call it L1 to L3. We just simplify things, but basically L3, 4, and 5 is people that are at the very, very bottom of the funnel. L5 is purchasers.
Mm-hmm.
4 is add to cart. 3 is they've viewed a product page. 2 is that they've just hit a page on your site. And L1 is supposedly cold traffic. So in this case, you've got everything bundled in together. So it makes sense that new visits are only 36%. So if you bring over here, though, one of our other metrics that we talk about in the MPIs download is ECPNV. So almost as important as percentage of new visits is this right here.
Correct. Because when you're trying to do your forecasting, because you have some sort of goal, you're a marketer, your marketing team, you got to sign, well, we're paying you guys. Here's the budget. CFO's looking at it. They want to see growth. And then, well, when you say, okay, I'm going to get my new visits up, you've got to keep those new visits, and the cost structure the math has to make sense. And the cost per new visit is looking at how much did you spend divided by the new visits. And that determines the cost of the new visit. So if you spent $10 and you got 5 new visitors, your ECPNV is $2 per new visit. That's what it cost you. And then you use that math as part of your funnel stepping through. Okay, how many new visitors convert to my next stage, which might be, let's just go right to sale for simplicity.
Sure.
Okay, one out of every 100 new visitors, I need to get a sale.
Right.
And I'm paying $2 a new visit. Well, that means my NCAC is going to be $200. Does my profit margin and my product pricing support a $200 NCAC? In this case, let's use the real example. $1.88 for this particular campaign, $90 NCAC. So that means they're converting at 1 out of 45, 1 out of 46. Well, if you back into your NCAC from your profit margin you need, minus your COGS, minus your processing fees, if you want to take, let's say, 10% off the table, if $90 is what you can do, then you're golden. You spend more here. Now, you still want to optimize your new visits for more, but if your math already lines up that ECPNV to NCAC makes sense, then you can focus on, rather than having to wait, let's say your sales cycle 7 to 20 days, and you're like, man, the NCAC I think is going to go down. The first initial MPI that you focus on is, I want to drive my ECPNV down, or I want to invest more at top of the funnel where ECPNV is already low, because I'm buying more fresh eyeballs as cheap as possible, which is only going to have benefits downstream for every other campaign.
Right. Makes sense.
Can we pause and just look at some of this screen right now? Because you're talking about people that are optimizing only on your in-app metrics. If they're looking at the click-through rate, or likely the cost per outbound click that's within the Meta Ads ecosystem, and not looking at the NCAC, here, if you see, there's a difference of a 3x difference almost. Well, like a 2.75. I'm not going to math that, but that's so significant. Whereas the cost per, if you scroll a little to the left, I'm looking at, oh, I haven't even gotten that far. Yeah, but if you look below, the third one on this list has, scroll to the left a little.
This one?
Let's scroll to the other left a little.
Oh, I forgot my left from my right.
It might just be mirrored. I don't know. But in this, if you're looking at the cost per new website visitor, we have a comparable cost between two of the ad sets that are being shown here versus a significantly different average order value, a significantly different customer, like an NCAC. If you're avoiding these bigger KPIs, these MPIs, these marketing performance indicators, you're neglecting severe opportunity here, because this is all a $50 versus $122 NCAC. That's your margin, and that takes away from the cash immediately received. It's massive.
I think
you got it.
Yeah. So the 122 versus the 50, I totally agree. So if the ECPNVs are the same, and the NCACs have a $70 difference, you should be moving tons of money over here if the goal of these is top of the funnel. Yeah. Because this NCAC is coming, we've segmented the Shopify data, or whatever cart we get, from new versus repeat. Because the new stats always look worse than the repeat. How much worse? Let's look. Well, your NAO, the average order value of a new customer is 158.
NAOV, which we've hit on, it's inside marketing performance indicators.
And the repeat AOV is 278.
Yeah.
So this campaign,
but that's contrarian, because that has a higher repeat average order value, even though more upfront NCAC. So again, this is the decision making, because if you look at the net average order value of these three ad sets, it's basically the same, but you have a more expensive cost per new website visitor, significantly more, but a greater NCAC cost. But then when you see at the returning AOV, it's actually telling you a better story that the third and the first are the ones to invest in deeper.
So this one right here, this one with the 51, you should get super tight on new traffic only and exclude returning, because it's getting very cheap new, but the returnings are only paying $150. And then the one above it because it has a high NCAC but a super high AOV, that 122 row, that's the ad set. You should turn that into a retargeting, restrict and only target people on your list, previous website visitors or previous customers, because the return AOV is through the roof and the return CAC is 112.
100%.
So they've actually struck gold if it was retargeting. And this is how you map back into your customer journey.
This is an example of using these MPIs in order to really troubleshoot. There's a lot of opportunity here.
Tons.
Thank God this is not a tier 11 account. But anyway, we know whose it is. The point is that they're not looking at this. And most marketers, and if you're listening or watching here, make sure that you do watch over at perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube and subscribe, because this is vitally important here. We are missing out on a major opportunity here to really alter your campaigns and ultimately acquire new customers at a much lower cost. But also, there's something going on in that ad set there that is getting repeat visitors to buy way more.
You're making $150 a pop. I mean,
it's $278.
Well, look at the other one.
$278 returning average order value versus $150.
So my point is on this campaign, the returning customers are bringing in a boatload as far as AOV. Average order value 278. My point is exactly what you said before. I'll just say it again, is that you should turn this into a retargeting campaign, and you should turn this into a cold traffic campaign, because there's something in these ads or the ad set or the targeting or whatever it happens to be that is getting you an NCAC, which is fantastic. Yep. And look, your new AOV, this is almost a 3-to-1.
3-to-1.
It's not too bad.
Most people kill for a 3-to-1 spread. Even more than that, what I love about this. So then now that you know that this ad set, you go in and look at the ads and say, which ad is converting the best? Because I want to use that for all my unconverted emails and SMSs. I want to send them that offer because I know it's converting new. And then for the next row that has the 278, anyone that's already bought, you want to segment your Klaviyo, your active campaign, keep repeat buyers, because that drives a lot of value. You want to use this in your owned media as well as your repeat offer,
100%.
Because then you chain those together and then your LTV exponentially moves up, which then means your NCACs can go up because you're going to get the second purchase at a higher AOV and then hopefully with less cost, and then it all stitches together and you incrementally grow your business. So man, this example couldn't have worked out better.
This is a great example. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because this is a look back period. If we go up here, this is a look back period for the last year.
So it's a month.
It's only a month.
2024 to September.
All right, we have the other one. Okay. All right. So this is actually good. This is really a recent trend. Yeah. I totally misread that,
but also,
by the way.
Ralph, look at that. Yeah. The NCAC being 122, and then the returning average order value being 278. Something that a marketer has a fiduciary responsibility to their client is that if you don't have the run rate to cover that 122 NCAC for the later return average order value, you could be doing your client a disservice. But if they have potential wiggle room, you can use that language and that attribution to demonstrate the cash runway required for a scaling investment into your ads.
And I think, once again, when people log into Wicked, the biggest thing that we see is people well, I don't know what to look at. Well, this is what you look at. And we've actually walked you through how to set it up, how to set up your columns. And then you just scroll down to this area. And obviously these are Facebook ads. We'll show some of the other stuff. But here we have, while you were actually explaining that, which I 100% agree, actually did a comparison view here. So we changed our view here. If you haven't checked out, if you're walking the dog, or you're working out, or whatever it happens to be, make sure that you check out the YouTube channel over at perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube so you can see this firsthand. This stuff is super, super important. So anyway, we just changed the view to compare last month to this month. So Correct. Show us a little bit more.
So last month to this month. So we want to look in and say, okay, the CAC has actually come way down. So before we, say, hey, media buyer, it started out. So here's another thing. I'm glad this is a dream. I mean, we did not stage this. This
No,
couldn't be
we
better. So this CAC came down.
Like most things, we don't plan it. We just
I
sort of
know
do
it's
it.
too boring to plan them. It's better to just be authentic and find out what happens and deal with it. So so this NCAC came down 73%. It went from 340 to 90, which is amazing. Now, when they first started this campaign and had a 340 NCAC, they were probably ready to jump out the window. They're like, I'm going to get sacked. NCAC's 340. My AOV is only 158. That's why you have to have the conversation up front if you're a marketing team with your client to get aligned on top of the funnel conversion time. Because what happens, you get a new idea, everyone's all excited, you run it, the CEO's in there blowing you up, poking around in the data because it's been 3 days and oh my God, we're not hitting our KPIs.
Right.
I see it all the time. And we have like, almost 1,000.
Why aren't I a millionaire yet? It's been 3 days.
I'm doing some private consulting with a couple of them and they're blowing me up after 2 days. I go, I got them aligned and then they forget. They're like, geez, the past two, you made those changes top of the funnel last two. I mean, I'm not an agency, but I just consult the agency. And I'm like, you got to change this new visit stuff, just what we talked about. And then 2 days later, the CEO's like, well, I mean, the spend's up, but I mean, the revenue's not there. And I'll be like, we just talked about your data shows that your customers take 3 weeks to buy if they're new.
Right.
And therefore we have to double that time because 3 weeks is when the first person buys and we need the whole 3 weeks of clicks to have another 3 weeks to convert. Mm-hmm. And we use their own data and we get it recorded to get them on video agreeing to a 6-week timeline. Mm-hmm. And this is a perfect example of why. If you after 1 week, I'm sure it was no bueno. Person was freaking out.
I'm sure the media buyer got like his head chewed.
Yeah, and they had to like show, oh wait, but there's not really much you can do normally. So what you have to do is arm yourself with data in the other reports that aren't relevant to what we're talking about. Well, they're relevant, but they're not timed to demo them. But we have them to show conversion time because you get them aligned. Like this is your data. It shows how long conversion time takes. Right. So we're going to use new visits in ECPNV to drive new traffic. And we need 6 weeks to make sure or whatever time that conversion, that unique cycle is for that brand is.
Right.
So this is a perfect example. Like you would have killed this and they would have lost out on 140K.
So something happened. Like you can go back into, in this case, this is a meta campaign. You can go back in and track changes and figure out exactly what they did. I don't know if they did a whole lot. Maybe they just let it ride. And it sort of started to self-optimize. But the point is like this is a huge improvement month over month. Now, you can obviously do the same thing week over week. In this particular case, we're looking at it a month at a time. Change your view based upon what your average sales cycle is for your product. And that's one of the most important questions you need to find out. And most people don't know.
Most people don't know.
Most business owners have no clue.
Yeah.
So at least take a guess.
Well, we don't guess. We look at the CRM date versus the cart date when it didn't happen the same day to give us back data to supply our model so we can predict how long cold traffic takes. That's one way.
So where can we see those predictions? Is that something that we can pull open?
Yeah, it is. Oh, go to reports, do a new
tell me where to go.
Do a new tab.
Let Ralph drives.
Yeah. No, see, this is.
But this is good. Anyone that's listening, and say they're like doing it on their computer and they're listening.
Additional reports, predictive behaviors. Throw that one in. You got to hit that little corner.
I did. Kevin.
Okay.
A nice little edit here.
Right click, new tab.
All right. So, all right, Kevin, this is where we're going to pick up here.
So while these predictive behaviors, we're going to crunch the right click, open that in a new tab. And what we're going to do while that is, that's fun. I'm going to crack the whip on Slack.
So Kevin, this is not where we're starting.
This is not part of it, but I'm cracking this whip. I'm pissed. Okay. So we'll pull up predictive behaviors. While we're getting there, one last thing on all those, I showed a lot of different things to think about. One thing we have is the concept of a wicked coach. And it's a bot, it's like a CRM automation. We can put the rules in based on your specific MPIs, and it'll monitor and tell you when you need to do something. So it's all cool to go look at the insights to learn what works, but we'll just alert you and tell you. So for example, if my campaign name contains cold traffic and my new visit percentage is below 50%, tell my media buyer, fix ad sets. if my RAOV trend is up 50%, tell media buyer, spend more on repeat visitors. We can get very precise and it's not going to automate the whole job, but it's going to save you mining the spreadsheets. Like I like doing that, but a lot of people don't. They're good at creative, they're good at strategy. And furthermore, that way you never miss an opportunity. Because maybe this person had 10 clients, they have 12 campaigns each, and then their CEOs are blowing them up because the cold traffic didn't convert day 2. And they're like pulled into meetings, and instead of mining the data, then they rush in the data. So just get it automated, and then it's going to always tell you what to do. Our best clients always automate, and then it just saves them time. Okay, we're here.
So, now this is predictive behaviors inside additional reports. And at the top, we can see best sales day by revenue, by sales, when conversions are happening. And this gives you predictive understandings of what your runway is from website visit to purchase.
Forecasted.
So my comment before was at least take a guess.
No,
I didn't even realize that this was in here. Like this is incredible. So like you would think I would know, but anyway, I didn't know. The point is like this is here. Most conversions happen it's telling you this is a year look back.
Yeah.
All right. So Wicked Reports actually has to gather the data, obviously.
Well,
it's not something that you get right from the get-go.
From the get-go, though, we have new lead sales velocity. Okay. So we pull in your CRM conversions, we pull in your sales, we cross-reference them and say, if people didn't buy right away, how long did they take? Because we want to give you, because cold traffic off Meta is not probably going to buy day 1. And so you need a model of what's happened in the past. And this is what happens in the past. This is how long the people took to buy, how much they spent, the cumulative percent of sales. So 2 to 7 days is the most, but it takes 8 to 14 days to get half of the sales. So we do want to wait 2 to 4 weeks on a cold traffic, because imagine day 1 click and half of them are going to convert after 2 weeks. Well, then the more of them are going to convert the next chunk, and you can't wait forever, but you need to give it a couple weeks to have a chance, because that's only half the conversions. Right. I had one client that they were doing Meta, and then they were doing an in-office exam thing, and then it was very convoluted. Facebook ad to booked appointment to sale, which was like a $4,000 sale. Meta showed 0 sales. We could show in 30 days they weren't breaking even, but they made another like $1 million in the 30 to 90 days. So it was all out of the window. And it was all, we started here and said, hey, all your conversions are from 31 to 180 days. You can't be judging your cold traffic from the first month. Can you take that leap of faith? Right. And they did it. And now they keep spending, even though it looks like if you looked at the in-app, you wouldn't spend a cent. Right. You'd say Facebook doesn't work.
But it's not a leap of faith. It's a leap of forecasting now, because you're not guesstimating anymore. But a big, important question is, how much data do you need for this to be statistically relevant? Because this is great. This is an account that's spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but this is not always true. So at what point, how many conversions do you need inside your CRM? How much data does someone need for this to be effective?
We'll pull in all of them. We pull in your entire history of CRM and cart. But if we don't have at least 5,000 to go on, then it's only going to be directional. It's still better than nothing. But yeah, you need at least 5,000 in your CRM. You want at least 1,000 sales, because anything can happen in your first 100 sales. Oh, someone tweeted and I went viral. I mean, Twitter almost never works. It works for Tommy Chong's, one of our customers, but yeah, it did. Mark Cuban tweeted, Tommy Chong, stop retargeting me. This proves Twitter doesn't work. Well, X doesn't work for marketing. And they were like, yeah, it does. X reached out to us to say, how do you guys do this?
How'd you guys do that?
That's funny. They're
good
so then this is 1,000 sales, 5,000 individuals inside your CRM. Yeah. So that's the baseline of where, if you are listening to this and you have that, or you are close to that, you not implementing some sort of third-party attribution tool like a Wicked Reports, which is obviously one that we're more biased towards, because now they have a perpetual traffic viewpoint, so you can have everything inside.
It's going to be killer. Scroll up on this predictive. This is another thing here.
So cute.
So this hourly thing, scroll up. We take the customer's time zone into effect. So we look at when they bought, if I'm buying right now in Boston, it's like 6:00 p.m. I'd show up in the 6 p.m. And if someone's buying in California at this very moment, it's 6 Eastern, but they're 3 p.m. They'd show up in the 3 p.m. We time zone adjust.
That's wicked smart.
Well, I got taught this by a guy, Craig Jacobson, like in 2014 or 13. It was one of our first reports we put in. Yeah. He was like, hey, I got this really cool thing. He was doing a save your marriage info product. And he said, all my sales are at 4 p.m. and 2 to 4 a.m. I said, that's cool, but why? What does that mean? He goes, people that are trying to get better with their spouse and they're leaving work, or people that can't sleep because they're having relation drama. I was like, that's brilliant. He goes, so I send emails then, I run my ads then, and I don't spend any money like till noon. Right. So people blow their budgets in the morning that, don't pay attention.
Yeah.
And then it's just brilliant because you'll find a lot of like education.
It's true with new moms.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, like new moms have always been the 3 a.m. window because it's like the child is screaming. And so they're just on social being like, Lord, help me, remind me of a time when I went out.
So this is pretty evenly distributed, overall. But this can be very insightful just for that reason.
And you'd want to do when the spike starts. So in this one, 9, 10 a.m., that's when you should send the emails.
Yeah.
But like info, you should look at this because if you're teaching people things, it's probably going to spike at 7, 8 p.m.
Yeah.
You got home, you ate dinner, you spent time with the family. Now you're trying to like learn something else. 8, 9 p.m., killer time to do marketing.
Email comes in after dinner. All of a sudden you see it on your phone. Open rates are going to be much better, much higher. For anyone who's been listening the last couple of episodes here, what do you got? What can you offer the PT listener? Kick-ass offer to get started on Wicked Reports.
Well, 2 things. I'll give you $100 off to get started, but more valuable, I'll give you a one-time $1,000 data scientist call. Well, they'll actually look at your marketing performance indicators that have been covered and assess how you're doing, and then any recommendations on what to change in your account. So that'll be available at wickedreports.com/PT.
So $1,000 for a half-hour call, somebody to
1 hour
set
call.
this up.
It's for 1 hour. Yep.
$1,000 an hour.
Yep.
So like the biggest question people have sometimes when they start with Wicked Reports is like, how do I set it all up? Can I get somebody to
you won't need this.
Me?
Yeah. Okay. So we already have an onboarding rep assigned to your account to help you. Okay. Based on your integrations, you may be set up in an hour, or if you have some crazy custom shopping cart and you need to get the API developers, blah, 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 it could take a little longer because you have a custom shopping cart. So it can take anywhere.
Someone on to help with the technical expertise.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We got a tech expert to get the tracking dialed in.
Yep.
Then once that's set, then you've got the call. So this calls for once you have data flowing in. It's 2-3 weeks after you're set up. Would be the most valuable where you want to cash that one in.
That's huge. All right. So wickedreports.com. I approve this message. Right. It's good. I want it to, to be wicked good for the PT listener here. That's pretty damn good. So $100 off your first month. Okay. Which is significant. We'll have to run that by Adrian as to whether or not it actually makes any financial sense, but it doesn't matter. Yes. We're doing it here. And after your onboarding, you get a 1 hour call with a data scientist, and they charge out $1,000 an hour. Correct. You guys bill that out at $1,000 an hour. So that's key. So check that out over at wickedreports.com/PT.
Yes.
And sign up today. Otherwise, none of this stuff really makes a whole lot of sense unless you can figure out a way or create your own Wicked Reports, which good luck trying to do that. We tried to do that 3 or 4 years ago. Don't do it. I'm telling you. Threw $200,000 down the shitter on that one. So thank you so much for coming on to Perpetual Traffic and for giving what seems like a pretty freaking good offer here for people to get started with. Wicked Scott de Gracier.
Wicked Scott de Gracier has been wickedly brilliant and wickedly insightful.
Wicked Scott, thank you for coming on Perpetual Traffic. On behalf of my awesome co-host, Lauren E. Petrullo, I can pronounce that name.
Yeah, you crushed that one.
There you go. Ciao.
Until next show, see ya.